the award-winning recovery podcast, Getting the Herd, brought to you by the McShin Foundation. Today, we have, as our special guest, we have Delegate Mike Mullin. He represents down south and east, Yorktown and some areas around there.
Williamsburg.
And Williamsburg, right, the big one, right.
There you go.
We also have John Schinholzer in the studio with us today here. So we bring the big dogs when we got the big dogs. Delegate Mullin,
Yes.
welcome. Like I said, welcome to the show. I want to talk about, what's happened over the last, month. There's been a big change to the House of Delegates. Let's talk about that.
And the Senate and the governor's mansion. So it's a huge turn of events.
Listen, if you didn't have your head on straight, it would go spinning right now. The speed in which things are happening here in Richmond is like lightning. We only get 60 days to be able to do a year's worth of work. So a lot's happening, especially for things that would interest your viewers. A lot of stuff on recovery, a lot of stuff on criminal justice reform. I got to be honest with you. I was very worried going into the session that we weren't going to have the focus on criminal justice reform and recovery that I'd hoped for. I was real worried that we were going to backslide and that we were not going to be able to take advantage of some of the great changes that we made over the last 2 years. But I'm seeing right now a lot of things that are making me hopeful. So I think this General Assembly session is going to end up being pretty good. But until then, I'm just taking it one day at a time.
I want to just jump in here because I know time is important. I noticed I've been going down to General Assembly now since the year 2000. Me and my wife and McShin, we pioneered recovery support services in Virginia as well as advocacy down there and trying to reach policymakers. And for 20 years, I've been testifying in front of the Courts and Justice Committee, for an example. And it's just so hard to get any type of reform through that committee. But over the last couple years, my hat's off to you guys down there. And the truth is, you call it what it is. When the Democrats were in control, we actually got things done. Good, positive, progressive things done. And I'm right in the middle. I'm a purple guy. I advocate recovery. Period. I'm not left or right. I'm recovery in the middle.
There you go.
And it's so frustrating to see, that everything flipped the way it did. And I'm pessimistic for what we're going to get out of the General Assembly this year. However, since the transition's taken place, I couldn't be more proud of the Virginia Democrats, the way they've kept their heads on their shoulders. They've acted like ladies and gentlemen. And I'm not sure we're going to get a whole lot done, but I feel really good about we having some real champions down there. I just want to thank you for that, and let you know I see that.
Well, you were down there pretty much every night with me, having late nights until 1 o'clock in the morning in Crim Sub when I was still running that subcommittee. I appreciate all your hard work. Listen, I think you're right. I don't know what it's going to look like. I was very pessimistic going into this session. It seems like some of the scariest stuff, the kind of stuff that would just incarcerate people over addiction or mental health issues, looks like a lot of that stuff is going to go by the wayside and sort of die. But, nothing changes if nothing changes. And right now we're having a lot of defense. Sometimes defense wins games and it becomes a game of yards. And right now we're doing all right. They're trying some real Hail Mary passes right now, going over our defense, going deep. I'm hopeful that nothing else will actually get through, though.
Well, we do have one piece of legislation I think everybody can probably get on board with. Nathan knows the bill number, but it's centered around recovery residences and accreditation of recovery housing. Mm-hmm. And, the state went to a lot of trouble to create an accrediting body to make sure these sober homes across Virginia, we're all singing from the same sheet of music. And at the same time, we need a little protection from the municipalities. We can't have them over-regulating to some degree these recovery houses. And for
example, you're talking the right thing. Man, come on down to Williamsburg, James City County, where that was a real big discussion point 2 years ago.
Well, not in my backyard. It's everywhere I come to discover. It doesn't matter what district you're from or what color it is. I'm telling you, man, this stuff pops up.
NIMBY is a thing. You're right.
We got shot down for a recovery campground in a district that probably has more meth labs than any other community in Virginia. It's like, what is wrong with you people? You'd rather have meth labs than recovery campgrounds, man?
So listen, let's say it like it is. At this point, even the people who are with us most of the time, all of a sudden they don't want people in recovery near them.
Why do you think that is?
There's a stigma still about recovery and about mental health and addiction that we just have to do away with. All right? Everybody's human. Everybody's got to deal with the same sort of issues, and recovery and addiction and mental health issues, it's all part of that process. We're all going to get sick. We're all going to have issues. And we're all going to come to the right place of hopefully staying sober day by day. And the way to do that is collectively with people. And if you can't get together at a sober living house, then what the heck is the point of all of this? Not in my backyard stuff.
Yeah, we did some nice metrics around sober living, and we said, look, you got this amount of people spread out in the community doing drugs and creating a problem, public safety problem. Now we collect them in these recovery residences, and public safety goes up tremendously. We can actually target and identify a decrease in emergency calls, 911 calls, arrests, all those things that across the board, inclusive. We save time, money, energy, dollars, and lives, and heal families with this type of modeling going on. But some of these folks, they're just so insistent, drives me nuts, man. It must drive you crazy too down there.
Listen, it's something that we have to talk about and deal with on a daily basis. I wish there was a better way other than, you know what? I am so proud of some of those people who are in recovery who are willing to speak up. Because, that's not a normal part of the recovery process. So much of recovery is about anonymity, dealing with those things within the community, within the group. But there's some people who are standing up and actually talking about, hey, I've got 3 months of sobriety. I've got 6 months. I've got 9 months. I've got 10 years. And I'm an active participating member of the community in a way that's very constructive, helpful. I got a family. I come from a place.
Yeah, I'll share something with you. I was reading your bio earlier today, and I'm thinking, well, we got a couple things in common here. Number one, you were born in 1981, and I got clean and sober in 1982. And you look like you were raised Catholic. I was raised Catholic, so I'm sitting and I love Williamsburg. I spent a lot of time down there, and you're down in that area. So I'm thinking, hell, I can relate to this guy. And you're a prosecutor, and I've been in a lot of courts where I'm helping and advocate. But I was advocating since when I was fresh out of rehab in 1982 in the Marine Corps in Hawaii. I remember they opened up a treatment center, and the governor come out. We went down there as newcomers and talked about recovery. But you're right about that stigma, because in the year 2000, when I started going down to the General Assembly, being a guy in recovery, talking about recovery issues, it was like I come out of Mars speaking a different language to these folks. And a lot of other people went down there too. Sarah, Virginia was down there. That's who kind of helped got me jump started. So, it's there. The stigma, yes, the stigma is killing as many people as the drugs themselves are doing damage to. But you're right. And me and Nathan has had many people on his show before talking about that stigma issue. And we've had congressmen, senators, and all kinds of folks. And it's like, what is it about addiction that you guys are so scared of, man?
So, talk to me a little bit about not just addiction recovery, but also the stigma that comes from mental health issues. Because, these are all wrapped up together. It isn't just, people don't just all of a sudden wake up one morning and say, I'm going to be addicted to meth. All right. It's a process. People are going through and saying, hey, I'm in the wrong place. I get exposed to the wrong things. I have some mental health issues that I'm self-medicating on. Even if you work on recovery, you still got to work on the mental health issues too.
You know, I was watching Kudlow on one of the networks the other night,
Mhm.
and they're really some networks are hounded on mental illness right now. They're bringing up, San Francisco, L.A., Seattle, all these cities that are just inundated with homeless people mentally ill. And then Kudlow, he got on it. His quote was just lock them all up. And I'm thinking, holy smoke, here we go again, man. You know, they don't mind complaining about the issue, but they don't want to implement the solutions. Other than lock them up seems to be the solution. And it's like I just saw 20 years of advocacy go out the window when I hear a guy like that quote that on a conservative, TV show. And it just makes me sick.
I don't get it. All right. Everybody's going to get sick. All right. You, me, Nathan, we're going to get sick at one point or another. All right. And the biggest organ in your body is your brain. And that is where you are going to get sick at some point. All right. That's just the
where
way
mental illness lies, is in the brain. It's deep in the brain.
And you know what? It's going to happen to all of us.
And now you're a prosecutor, and you're in the courtroom a lot, and the science is clear now. Diversion programs work.
That's right.
The more these folks we can not put them in a trauma-induced environment, jails and prisons, the more we can keep them in community, the better outcomes. We're going to get long-lasting outcomes. And for an example, you heard of VACO and NACO. They both gave a state award and a national award to a diversion program we had up in Caroline County. Tremendous data, better than drug courts, mental courts, just off the chart, crazy great. Tony Spence, the Commonwealth attorney up there, implemented it with us years ago. And but this year they're coming out against these sober home laws we're trying to get passed, and the municipality challenge we have. Like on one hand, they give us these incredible kudos on how great this thing is, but on another hand, because somebody else said not my backyard, you can't do it. But the point of the thing is, these jail programs work, these diversion programs work, treat them in community works, and we've been hanging on by the skin of our teeth with funding and finances and whatnot. Last couple of years, the state cut loose some money for us, and I'm going to attribute it to the state opioid response funds and the, be honest with you, the Democrats in control downtown. I mean, they saw the light. And so here we are holding our breath this time of year thinking, oh my God, are we at risk of losing our gains? And, what can we do? Like me and Nathan as recovering people, what suggestions you make to us at this turning point?
Let me give you this analogy real quick. If I broke a bone, are you going to send me to jail? That's not the best place to recover. If I have a physical injury, the first idea is not to say, oh, you brought this on yourself, it's your problem. So why is it that we say that with recovery and mental illness? I don't get it. Locking people up doesn't do anything. Costs $32,000 a year to keep somebody in Department of Corrections custody. All right, $32,000 a year that we could have been spending on teachers, students, anything else. The cost of sober living and recovery is 1/10 of what it costs to incarcerate an individual. All right, if you want me to
and you get better outcomes in the end. You do get better outcomes.
If you send somebody into an intensive outpatient program in which they're in the community working and with their family and support group, as long as they're outside of the community of interest that was trying to get them into drugs, damn it, that's better, cheaper, and has a better outcome. I don't know why we ain't doing that.
Well, good to hear.
You're a prosecutor, though, so.
You know what? I'll tell you this. There are a lot of prosecutors who believe the same thing that I do. Shout out to a group called the Progressive Prosecutors Association. They represent 47% of all people here in Virginia. And darn it, they got the right idea. All right? Programs that
Scott Miles part of that group?
What's his name?
I think Scott Miles. Is he part of that?
He is. He is. And you know what? We got people down in Norfolk, Newport News, Richmond, all who are buying in on the recovery process. All right. So you're not screaming into the wilderness anymore. There are a couple people out there shouting too.
Here at McShin, we believe in the McShin way, which is authentic recovery support service providers, people with lived experience, bringing that experience to those who need that lived experience in recovery.
Here at McShin, we believe in many things to support our mission. We believe in women empowerment.
What I love most about what we believe here at McShin is we believe in the authenticity of the peer-to-peer approach.
Here at the McShin Foundation, we believe in giving people opportunity.
Here at McShin, we believe in the inherent worth and dignity of every person.
At the McShin Foundation, we believe in helping people reach their full potential.
Here at the McShin Foundation, we believe in multiple pathways to recovery.
Here at McShin, we believe in placing principles before personalities to help spread hope.
Here at McShin, we believe that recovery is possible and that any person seeking recovery can become a more acceptable, responsible, and productive member of society.
Here at the McShin Foundation, we believe in self-discovery.
Here at McShin, we believe in saving lives and offering second chances.
Here at McShin, we believe you can do this.
Here at McShin Foundation, we believe that we can only keep what we have by giving away, which is why we continue to help others like us seek and find recovery.
Well, and I appreciate that, Delegate. It sometimes does feel that way, though. You know, we advocate for defelonization. We advocate for better Good Samaritan laws, which we have a personal connection with that one, with you on that, and I appreciate you. Actually, if anything, the work that we did around that and what you did when that law was changing inspired me a great deal to continue to not only tell my story, but to empower others to tell theirs. And John was there that day. We all spoke, and you changed your vote, and that was an important moment for me. The defelonization, though, is an important part of recovery because we're not actually helping people. And I want to tell you my story briefly. I was arrested October 31st, 2016, and we were pulled over for speeding. I was in the back seat, and I got arrested for possession. And there were some things that the cop did that were legal, but he lied to me, and that's another story entirely. The outcome is that I did eventually find recovery. However, from October 31st of 2016 until March 9th of 2018, not one person said anything to me as a peer in recovery. And it wasn't until I was in a jail program. So of course I'm very fond of jail programs. It got me to my recovery. However, because I continued to use in pretrial, I got rid of the first offenders law. I was no longer because I absconded while I was using on pretrial. And I'll give you a note about that. I would go into my pretrial office. I would white knuckle it 3, 4, 5 days, without using. And I would go in there every single time, every 2 weeks with this woman, bless her heart. And she would look at me and I would dress up clean cut. I would look the part. I would say the right things. And after a few months, I kind of looked at her and said, is this really what we're doing? We're making felons of us? And I never saw her again after that. I had lost 35 pounds in 4 months in front of this woman. I was using way more after I had gotten arrested. That despair, that feeling of uselessness really kicked in. And this woman looked at me when I said, is this really what we're doing? And she said to me, but Nathan, look at how well you're doing. And I just couldn't help but scream in my head, lady, I'm going to get high in the parking lot when I leave this building. And I never saw her again after that until I went to trial. got rid of the 251, absconded again in probation because I couldn't stop using. And I'll tell you, the 45 days, because I got arrested in Fauquier County and I lived in Prince William County and I moved to D.C. where I was working, those 45 days getting the paperwork from one county to another and then trying to get back to D.C., forget it for me. Nobody was watching, nobody was looking, nobody was helping, and I had no idea that I had a problem because at the time I didn't think I had a problem, and I didn't really have access to those peer recovery specialists, which is what I'm so in favor of at that moment. So what do we do? Because I want to advocate for defelonization and reclassification, and I want to make sure that we have these effective, peer involvement at the moment of crisis.
That's
I was arrested, and the first thing the cop wanted to do with me was find out who my dealer was. Didn't care how I was feeling, what I was doing, why I was doing what I was doing, how I was sick. What can I do to help him get to the next guy and the next guy? And that continued for the next couple hours when I went through the magistrate and yada yada. So what can we do to be more effective in this manner?
Well, I think two things. One, on defelonization, we already have a couple of states that are already way ahead of us, and
18.
so we're going to start getting a lot better data on it. So I'm very hopeful on that. Also, I think defelonization is the way that we're going to be moving. I mean, it's the way that the majority of Western countries already are. It's the way that we're getting close to about half of all jurisdictions are going that way. I think defelonization is the future. You saw some stuff on psilocybin. I can never pronounce that. Psilocybin. Yeah. Mushrooms.
Mushrooms.
Yeah. Thank you. So I think we're going to get that out of the Senate with a doctor's prescription. I think that's the start. A lot of people in recovery who say that was a turning point for them. That experiences under a doctor's care using those types of medications really help them with addiction and really help them with some of the mental health issues that they've been dealing with. So I think under a doctor's care, that's going to be a great thing. And the second, listen, I know that this is a tough thing to say, but you two doing the podcast, getting out there, talking to the community, being public about recovery and about your own personal experience with the legal system, with recovery, that's the way to do it. Because, so much of recovery is about being insular, looking inward, always talking to yourself. You got to reach out. We're a community people. People in recovery don't get into recovery alone. You got to do it with a community. You got to do it with people. And sometimes that means reaching out when people aren't listening. We got a great program in Newport News that I want to really hope for that works through our jail. We got a great sheriff down in Newport News who's spent a lot of time, money, and effort on recovery in the jail. The jail system recovery programs are generally not the best. DOC has improved a lot. So I'd like to give some credit to DOC for, doing some good stuff on recovery. But local jails, man, they're not much more than a drunk.
They suck, basically. Most of them are horrible, man. They re-traumatize people. They go against everything that we want out of an outcome of folks going into jail. But
that's right.
You're right. There are some good ones out there. So some good sheriffs, good jail programs. But the continuum of care is where the real problem is. Yeah. Richmond, a lot of people don't realize, but Richmond has over 1,000 sober beds. 500 of them are accredited. Every jail in the Richmond municipality area has really decent jail programs, complete with reentry. We can give guys and girls 2, 3, 4 weeks in a recovery house coming straight from the jailhouse. But where the problem, some of the problem is they run those jails like a captain runs a ship. And it's it's the civilian peer workers that need to get up in there and do their job and make that connection, give them the hope shot, the vision, and the pathway forward when they get out. And this is what irritates me about bureaucrats and politicians and these people. They're not going to solve all the problems. And a lot of the solutions are right here in the community. And somehow we got to do a better job coordinating our efforts.
Well, you know what? COVID didn't help.
Didn't help. Right? Didn't help a damn thing.
No, I mean, we've got a lot of people who we lost to addiction, mental health issues, suicides are up. because you can't connect with people. You can't get to a meeting except over Zoom, maybe. You can't deal with these issues. COVID has been catastrophic for individuals.
McShin stayed open every single day during COVID. We took people to jail wouldn't take. We had kids coming through our door going, yeah, the jail wouldn't take us, man. So this is the only place.
But you know what opened at 10 a.m.?
Yeah, well, yeah.
They opened the ABC up earlier.
Yeah, well, they're cutting back to noon now for budget cuts. They can't get enough employees to work. But the point is, we do got solutions, and it's the coordination piece that irritates me. But I want to ask a question. You sound like you know a lot about recovery. Are you in recovery?
Well, let me put it this way. Name's Mullin. All right. I got enough Irish Catholic to talk about recovery.
I married a McDade from Donegal, so I feel your pain, man.
I'm just saying, County Leitrim still runs real through my blood. So, there's a way of being able to talk about going through things one day at a time.
Right. Well, good for you, man. You're well educated. That's important, So you're an advocate too,
Absolutely. Well, I know we only got a minute left, but I want to raise it because it's important. Last one. Transportation. Man, oh man. All right. How many people do we all know who don't got a car,
or license?
Or license, got to get to work, got to get to a meeting, got to get to recovery, got to see their doctor. Transportation is expensive, and buses ain't always the best. They don't go at the right times. They don't work.
You singing to the choir. That's why we got 7 vehicles over here at McShin. We got more transportation than all the other recovery centers put together. We got 7. And we self-fund them too. It ain't like the state giving us money to get these guys to their appointments. So we figured that out. But you nailed it. You're spot on there. You're right. That's got to be part of the continuum is get these people around. And now what's funny? The state funded, Medicaid funded Suboxone clinics, methadone clinics. They'll transport people for the first month to get them in there, but it's like how they supposed to get there thereafter. Now we got solutions for transportation. We don't have a problem. A little bit of funds won't take care of. So. Put that in the back of your head.
Well, thank goodness that McShin's there because there aren't a lot of other organizations I'm aware of like McShin, let alone ones that are out there in the public doing a Getting the Herd style podcast. So you guys are doing everything that we wanted out of the community. And I think that's showing.
Well, we know we're valuable, right, Nathan?
That's right. And that's why, speaking on this, it's HB 277. It's Kerry Coyner's bill. It's also being patroned by Dawn Adams. She's also she's my delegate actually. And
hey,
Senator, yeah. Shout out to Delegate Adams and chief co-patron with Senator Morrissey over on the other side. He has a bill. There is a Senate companion piece on this. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but I think it's 411 SB 411. But 277. It's in counties.
It's in my committee. Hey, guess what? I can be the first one to vote for it.
All right, there you go.
Good man.
All right.
Glad that you brought it up right now because I'm going to be doing it on Wednesday. There you go.
Wednesday or Thursday?
That's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. Let's just say this week.
Okay, because I'm organizing people for Thursday. So
now look,
you know what? These committee meetings move so quickly; it's hard to keep track. So.
But before you go, I just want to say, Oxford House, they feel like they're at risk in this bill,
what?
To be clear, it doesn't affect Oxford House. It got nothing to do with Oxford House. It just got to do with better accountability.
Okay, let's talk more about that maybe offline because if we got to do, let's get a fix because we don't want to harm Oxford House or any of the other recovery based community organizations.
Yeah, and this really doesn't have a whole lot to do with them, and they're getting paranoid for no reason. So. And VACO's getting paranoid for no reason too. So that's 2 organizations that they raise concerns, but they're dreaming the concerns. They're not real.
Listen, there's nothing that we can't fix with a little sit down and a little chat.
I agree. So well, thank you so much for coming on today. I know you're a busy man. I'm surprised we got you during session like this.
Well, I appreciate y'all, and it's good to be with y'all. I'm looking forward to being able to see the next episode of the podcast. Y'all rule.
You got it.
Hey, Delegate, before you leave, one quick thing from me. Since you just got married a few months ago, I've been missing your food. pictures on Facebook. You're quite a cook.
So I gotta tell you, all right. I don't have a grill right now because it is 22 degrees outside, and I'm not gonna go out grilling because I ain't that dumb. But my boy William and I, we broiled up some steaks and some shrimp on Saturday. Great, man. Sent some pictures on Facebook. I'm telling you, man, there's a lot of things you can do with a broiler that I had no idea about.
Well, I'll have to check that out. Your boys are very lucky to have you then. Thank you, Delegate Mullin, for me.
See you, Nathan. Good to see you all.
Thank you, John.
Appreciate it.
Take care.